Welcome to the Liberty Bugle channel. Today we embark on a journey through the complex and evolving history of U.S. immigration policy. From its early days to the present, immigration has played a crucial role in shaping the United States. Let's explore the key milestones, influential movements, and recent developments that have shaped U.S. immigration policy over the years. At the turn of the 20th century, the United States experienced a wave of immigration, primarily from Southern and Eastern Europe. Concerns over cultural differences and economic competition led to the implementation of restrictive measures, such as literacy tests and quotas. In 1924, the Johnson-Reed Immigration Act, including the National Origins Act and the Asian Exclusion Act, established a national origins quota system favoring immigrants from Northern and Western Europe. This marked a significant shift in policy, reflecting the prevailing attitudes of the time. For example, as a result of the California gold rush in the mid-1800s, there was a huge influx of Chinese seeking wealth and opportunity. In 1852, some 20,000 Chinese passed through San Francisco's Customs House, up from only 2,716 the previous year. In 1884, the Chinese Exclusion Act was passed, and then this was broadened further in 1924 with the aforementioned Asian Exclusion Act. As the mid-20th century arrived, the United States faced new challenges. The Bracero program was established during the World War II to address labor shortages, allowing temporary agricultural workers from Mexico to enter the country. Meanwhile, the Civil Rights Movement, which gained momentum in the 1950s and 1960s, fought against racial discrimination and inequality. Its call for justice and equality had a profound impact on various aspects of American society, including immigration policy, and led to the elimination of racial restrictions in the McCarran-Walter Act of 1952. One of the key ways in which the civil rights movement of the 1960s brought about transformative changes and influenced immigration policy was through the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1965. This landmark legislation eliminated racial restrictions in immigration, ended the national origins quota system established only 40 years earlier, and also prioritized family reunification and employment-based immigration. The act marked a shift towards a more inclusive policy that opened doors for immigrants from Asia, Africa, and Latin America, further diversifying the immigrant population. In the 1980s, the United States focused on humanitarian concerns. The Refugee Act of 1980 was inspired by the humanitarian crises and human rights abuses occurring in several countries around the world. It was a response to the influx of refugees fleeing conflicts and persecution from countries like El Salvador in Central America and Asian countries like Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos, which experienced political upheaval and violence. The Refugee Act established a standardized process for admitting refugees, providing them with vital protections and access to resettlement opportunities. In 1986, the Immigration Reform and Control Act granted amnesty to millions of undocumented immigrants and aimed to address unauthorized immigration by penalizing employers who hired unauthorized workers. The late 20th century and early 2000s witnessed a growing emphasis on border security. The tragic events of September 11, 2001 had a profound impact on U.S. immigration policy. The attacks exposed vulnerabilities in national security and prompted a significant reevaluation of immigration and border control measures. As a result of 9/11, the U.S. government intensified border security enforcement efforts and established the Department of Homeland Security in 2003. Followed by Immigration and Customs Enforcement, also known as ICE, and Customs Border Protection, also known as CBP. The DHS brought together various federal agencies, including the Immigration and Naturalization Service, the U.S. Customs Service, and the U.S. Coast Guard under one umbrella. This restructuring aimed to enhance coordination and cooperation in safeguarding the nation's security, including immigration enforcement, although some questions remain as to whether the resulting loss of individual liberty has been a cost worth bearing. In 2012, the Deferred Action for Children Arrivals program was introduced, providing temporary relief to undocumented immigrants brought to the U.S. as children. Recent years have brought about both continuity and change to U.S. immigration policy. The Trump administration implemented travel bans and a focus on stricter immigration enforcement. Since taking office, President Biden has sought to reverse some of these policies, reinstating DACA and outlining several proposals aimed at reforming various aspects of the immigration system. President Biden has proposed a pathway to citizenship for the millions of undocumented immigrants living in the United States. This includes providing a legal status of and eventual citizenship for eligible individuals who meet certain criteria, such as passing background checks, paying taxes, and fulfilling residency requirements. The administration aims to improve the asylum system by streamlining processes, reducing backlogs, and expediting efficient adjudication of asylum claims. It also plans to prioritize family reunification and address issues related to immigration detention and the treatment of migrants at the border. Biden's proposals are stirring fresh and vigorous debate on what America represents and who America is for. The history of U.S. immigration policy has evolved over time, influenced by economic considerations, national security concerns, demographic factors, humanitarian principles, and civil rights activism. It reflects a mix of overarching yet sometimes competing and contradictory objectives, with reactive responses to specific circumstances. Some might perceive this as an incoherent ad hoc hodgepodge of hasty responses, while others perceive it as dynamic adaptation. As with most behemoth and centralized bureaucracies, the results produced are far from efficient and too often unfair. Still, as debates continue, it's essential to remember the complexities and multifaceted nature of immigration policy and the profound impact it has on shaping the United States and the lives of millions of individuals seeking a better future. One wonders if a simpler, coherent approach rooted in the core values of the founding principles, which benefit the country and are then equally applied to anyone, might be a less complicated, less legalistic, and more efficient solution. Thank you for joining us on this journey through U.S. immigration policy. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more insightful content.